show us the bids for the track bleachers and discuss.
Just wanted to give you an update. We did receive 6 bids, and you've got them in your packet, but I felt like we needed to just touch on the entire project to get the community to understand what we're trying to get done here. The long-range plan was kind of divided into 4 phases. Some of these have already been done. 2013, you can see the year there, just a reminder. Concession stand, restrooms updated, so on and so forth. We're in phase 3 this year, 15 and 16, with the goals of trying to upgrade the bleachers, the seating area, and lighting for joggers and walkers in the evenings. We do leave this facility open for the community 24/7, and so unless there's an activity by the school, you know, track meet or something like that, where it's reserved. But so it is available. So we're trying to address some of the lighting to make it a little bit safer area to walk if people choose to do so. And then phase 4 is looking at improving the parking lot. We've done some of that years ago, and but maybe the next phase is to asphalt either sections of it at a time. It may need to be broken into stages. We may not be able to do it all at once, but to improve that is one of our long-range goals, that facility. So phase 3 included bleachers, concrete pads and drainage for anchoring the bleachers too, as well as some lighting issues. And we're working with RMU on lighting. The lights that are there, we rent. They're dusted-on lights that RMU maintains, and we discussed with them, and so this is a budget number to add 4 additional, but all of them would be changed to LEDs, so it'd give us 8 lights around the facility, 8 or 9 lights around the facility to help improve some lighting in the evenings. So that was the budget estimate when we started discussing this phase. Just to run through a few photos, this is what we currently have as far as seating. Obviously 25 years ago it passed code. You would not be able to install this type of bleacher nowadays. Nowadays it's required that they're enclosed. People can't fall through them when they're over a certain height. I think it's 34 inches. Location of the current bleachers. The idea, new aluminum seating for approximately 600. The bid that we're going to make the recommendation for tonight is 2 sections that seat 308 each, including the ADA seating, and then some dusted-on lighting. ADA compliant, both would have ramps of some, not exactly like this, but these are just some stock photos to give people an idea. Front ramp, you know, after you get up, you'll have a walkway, elevated walkway, elevated bleachers for better viewing, and they'll be enclosed. So students, children, if you're there for track or if you're there for a youth football game and you've got a 3-year-old, they won't be able to fall through the seating area to the ground below. The proposed area you can see there to the left and right of the concession stand. And these are the bids. As I said, you have them in your packet. Each bid had to be broken down into cost just in case we weren't going to have them do the installation. The recommendation is tonight for the Southern Bleacher Company. We did check references. They have done work in Missouri. They're from Texas, but they did Francis Howell and a project at Washington, which our architect had both of those jobs, so Mark could give us feedback on this company, as well as I contacted the assistant superintendent at Washington, and we also contacted Webb City and Fort Osage because they've done the jobs for all of those districts. So,
Good.
good recommendations, on time, did what they were supposed to do, and haven't had issues since installation. Some of the installations were 2006 to 2013 in the state of Missouri. So,
That's under our budget, what we estimated as budget as well, right?
Yeah.
right, we had estimated about 100,000. That was the estimate. So the recommendation is to award Southern Bleacher Company a contract for the 78,820. As well, I would ask that you designate or set aside $20,000 from our district-wide capital improvement line item that we have in the budget for that additional work, the concrete work, which would be a different contractor. That needs to be done first and have it ready to go for this company to come in and install the bleachers on that pad. Engineers want that. It catches much more wind when it's closed in, so
Yeah.
those systems can blow and move, obviously, so they need to be anchored. And so that's what engineering is recommending, that it's on a appropriate concrete pad. And we get all those specifications from this company. But we've discussed that by phone, have a good understanding, and have those estimates built into this 20,000, as well as the lighting.
Kelly, how does it affect that drain that's there close to the gate? And would the new seating be there?
That drain will be in the pad. There will remain a drain there.
Okay.
Larry and I went over and measured off after we got the initial specs as far as distances. That's part of those drain pipe and building all that in, so things are appropriate. That's a low area, Jamie, and it's going to catch some water, but
Yeah.
we can deal with it better.
We didn't have any damage from the flood there, did we? Because I noticed when I drove by a couple times, of course, the water backed way up.
Sure.
And there was a huge puddle, I think, out to the track.
Right. No damage to the track. I actually was on it Monday with Larry, walking it to do some of these measurements before I called the company. We had a few questions that we wanted to clarify as far as the bid packet, and make sure, because obviously there's a range there. But we had been given estimates from St. Louis companies in the neighborhood of 90,000, which is where bids came in. But talking to these, I think another concern is, labor cost. Obviously, it was part of the bid packet that they have to pay prevailing wage and those type of things. So it's interesting.
Yeah, that was
What's
my
the
next question.
From the time it's awarded and we sign off on, they'll have to send us the actual submittal for our approval on the layout. 13 weeks is what they said they could have the product to us and ready to install. They say it's 10 to 11 working days to put in these two sets of bleachers is what they estimate. The question will be, can we get the concrete pad
Yeah.
bid out and poured, in that time frame? And, this has been a discussion. I talked to the company about, well, if we need to put it off, the actual installation of new bleachers until,
After track.
May 28th.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Are we good with the bid? Those kind of things. They said yes. So that's kind of been discussed. Our goal would be to get concrete poured and get bleachers in prior to track season, or prior to the first meet, if that's possible. But weather really dictates when you can pour concrete.
Who's responsible for removing your existing bleachers?
We will be, which we'll have those relocated, probably the company that is, it'll be part of the bid package of moving them so they can pour the concrete if our staff can't move them themselves. And then we'll surplus those out on Gov Deals, which is our website for auctions. So we'll auction those off unless we find a place we think we're gonna use them, but I don't see us doing that, so.
Any further
Any other
questions on the
questions?
project?
I'm assuming they all bid the same quality bleachers.
We were-
It's really, that's such a variation.
Well, it's,
Yep.
you know, we reviewed all the specs. They're meeting all our minimum specs. I think we had a pretty good package put together. You know, in the past, sometimes companies will call and say, well, you were too specific or you weren't specific enough, and we haven't run into that with these groups, and feel comfortable with what they're providing for us.
Yeah.
So,
I'd be happy to make that motion to award the bid to Southern Bleacher Company
And the extra $20,000?
and the extra $20,000.
and that,
to the-
that's in our budget. It's just that we're assigning that amount to this project, and that way Vicki knows how to code it.
20,000 assigned to this
I will second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign, motion carries.
So that does put our cost estimate for the entire thing at about 98,000, which we were at 120, so.
That's great.
Good.
Kind of like it when that happens.